Olamausi ni Shinzi, Wichiwa New Kanewak, Ni non GIE, Shana, Wisconsin, Ndalapane Kwe, Mohikanawe Kwe, Anishik Kishalamokwe, Anishik. Greetings, my name is Nicole Bowman. That's my English name. My spirit name is Wichiwa New Kanewak, accompanied by the four eagles, Flying Eagle Woman. And I am from the Lenape and the Mohican Nation on Turtle Island. My residence is in Shawano, Wisconsin, and I am outside by my sacred fire. And today I will give a greeting and pray for our Mother Earth and to the directions and our medicines in the language. Anishik, Anishik, Anishik. Anishik ki shalamokwe, elamiliang yon kwai kishkwik, walk, michwakin, walam lissa walkin, walk, nialago matit walk, ni wikian. Anishik ki shalamokwe, elamiliang, kukana aki, our Mother Earth, walk, ki shoch, the sun, walk, ni pahum, the moon, walk, alangwewok, the stars, walk, papatakwik, the thunders. Anishik ki shalamokwe, thank you, Creator. Elamiliang, for giving us Tindao walk mbi, the fires and the water. Back there is our river. Asinal walk cash hung. Meetwalk walk papa walashik, for the stones and the wind and the trees and the flowers. Anishik ki shalamokwe, mi huskwil walk wicha pikil, for the grasses and the medicines. Anishik ki shalamokwe, elamiliang, thank you, Creator, for giving us away ya yasuk, walk, awala shoshuk, for the animals and the birds, walk, namasak, walk, akoksak, for the fish and for the insects. Anishik ki shalamokwe, elamiliang, yon kwai kishkwik, kohamina, walk, kamahomsina, for the grandmothers and the grandfathers, our rocks. Kukana, walk, kokuna, for our mothers and our fathers. Anishik ki shalamokwang, elamiliang, yon kwai kishkwik, walk, nicha nina, walk, kachosimina, for our children and our friends, we thank you, Creator. Anishik ki shalamokwang, elamiliang, lapi anishik elamiliang, thank you again, Creator, for giving me yon kwai kishkwik walk, ni mubausa wakanam, for my whole life and for this day. Into the seven directions I say, Anishik, 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 Anishik. Aho.
Good morning from Minneapolis. Thank you, Nikki, for that beautiful prayer to begin the celebration of the first year of Blue Marble Evaluation. I am Charmaine Campbell-Patton, a founding member of Blue Marble Evaluation, and I will be your MC this morning as we begin the celebration of the first anniversary of Blue Marble Evaluation. I just wanted to acknowledge that we are living in difficult times. A central theme of this year has been breath. We're living through overlapping and intersecting pandemics and crises that are literally taking our breath away, from the coronavirus pandemic that infects the lungs, to the racism and police brutality that took the breath of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and far too many other Black people, to the accelerating crisis of climate change that is strangling our ecosystems. So before we begin our celebration, I'd just like to ask us to hold the space together and the reality of the crises we face, and just take one deep breath together. Thank you. So it was 1 year ago in Minneapolis that we launched Blue Marble Evaluation book and our website, bluemarbleeval.org. Many of you were there with us, and so it's nice to have you back today. And hopefully, you got a piece of a cake that has no equal. It was a family affair, as you can see, with 3 generations of patents there. And we were celebrating the launch of Michael's book and the website and this network, which has now grown to over 400 members from 72 countries around the world. And as part of our celebration today, we're going to hear from our founding members about what it means to them to be Blue Marble evaluators, what they bring to that work. But first, I'm going to hand it off to my friend and co-conspirator, Glenn Page, to acknowledge and appreciate some of the people who have been integral to bringing Blue Marble evaluation to life. Before I do that, though, I want to appreciate Glenn for his incredible contributions to Blue Marble evaluation. As you likely know, Glenn calls the Gulf of Maine home and has dedicated his life to the ecological restoration of coastal areas. It's safe to say that none of this would have been possible without Glenn's vision for Blue Marble Evaluation Network and his great skill at making connections, building relationships, and bringing people together. So, good morning, Glenn, and I will hand it off to you.
Well, good morning, Charmaine. Good morning, Michael. And good morning, all. It's really an honor to be here. And it's amazing to think it was just a year ago that we were gathered together in Minneapolis. I really love that opening, the prayer at this time of thanks in the Northern Hemisphere with Thanksgiving. Um, there's nothing more important than to recognize the indigenous roots. Particularly here, we are uninvited settlers on indigenous land in the Gulf of Maine. But also what you invoked, Charmaine, about the breath, the breathing, because the tides here in the Gulf of Maine are the biggest in the planet. And very much as the tides go out and come in twice a day, it's very much like breathing. So this issue of breath is true from the human dimensions and the biophysical natural systems. So in appreciation, I would just like to appreciate all of you, you amazing people who've been contributing to bringing this incredible idea together and the work that you've all given. It's been an incredible journey. We're just beginning. It feels very much like we are all collective midwives giving birth to something that is bigger, far, far bigger than any one of us or any one institution. It really requires all of us to come together to think together about what it means to actually create this thing that the world needs. We're all convinced of it on a daily basis. So thank you all for members of the working group. Charmaine, you've been doing a great job of expanding this thinking, and we hope to see this working group evolve with new blood, new people, new perspectives, new ideas. That's the only way that a network like this will actually ever function. So, and of course, for funders, Jane Milan Katie was a absolute key resource, friend, colleague, supporter, critique of this whole process, providing support for the very early stage and the second stage. But also, I would like to recognize the Garfield Foundation, folks like Ruth Rominger, Jen Berman, Jessica Conrad, Motaz Azilla, also contributing to the development with some of the work that we've been doing here in the Gulf of Maine with bringing Blue Marble from a place-based perspective. So it's leaders like Jane and Ruth and others that will make this possible. And so we will seek guidance, wisdom, critique, and support as we go forward. So also in the remarkable development of the Blue Marble website, which is really hard to imagine, it's only a year old, but the brilliant, creative, tireless support from Nick Herft of Web Solutions, who's helped create the vision for this. This is really remarkable, the work that Nick has done in collaboration with this process from a design thinking perspective and linking to better evaluation, which is something that Nick also has a very much leadership role in. So he's really beginning to have quite a presence in the evaluation world. And being in Australia, just want to shout out to him the time and the effort that he has given to us, waking up early morning hours. To talk strategy on how to develop this, and the experience study, which is really critical and a major aspect on where we are today. And also the photography, really beautifully done by my incredible sister and brilliant photographer, Ellen Harrisamowicz, who has traveled the world to improve her craft. And in that, in so doing, has really captured the essence of the human condition and the biophysical realities of the world we're facing in the Anthropocene. And I just want to recognize her for her incredible artistry and brilliant vision and sharing of these images for the website. There'll be more to come, so keep an eye on the website and recognize this remarkable artist. And the presenters. One of the things that we knew that we had to do was to keep a steady beat going. I know that anyone who's doing any sort of network development, they say, oh no, you have to keep a presence, have to keep an ongoing presence. So it's been a really wonderful labor of love to keep the webinar presence monthly. And the quality of presentations has just been extraordinary. We've really begun, and I underscore begun, to cover the waterfront of topics, but there's so much more. And just want to thank all the many people who gave their time and energy and wisdom to share with the world and to help, again, serve as midwives to this birthing of a network. And we also want to recognize the remarkable work going on in the transformation systems mapping and analysis. We launched this in April 22nd of this year. And this was that was the 50th anniversary of Earth Day. And these are people from around the world who are leaders in seeing systems and visualizing systems, everything from mapping to big data, artificial intelligence, etc. And how do we come together to see the systems we're in order to understand what's possible, and from systems language, the adjacent possible? And BRIC allures all of them in terms of their time, their willingness, and their ability to work together on many different elements not previously imagined, and coming together and visualizing them in a way. So we now have 13 work streams. We're about to launch two more, um, one with the next economies and another one on decolonizing systems mapping with the Turtle Island Institute, led by Dan Carpenter and Melanie Goodchild. So again, stay tuned. Lots to come, but remarkable work in this space. But also the fellows involved in this, which are a group of younger folks from around the world who have just been unbelievably supportive and contributing to the development of this, and in many ways serving as fellow conveners and really providing the wisdom and spirit and essence of what the future can hold. And it, for me at least, it gives me the greatest source of hope to see this level of energy, spirit, and support come together around this. And I think it's goes without saying that certain seers can provide us wisdom and insight into systems, but there are ones that actually give us great support. And I just want to recognize Christine Capper for the amazing work that she's done in the Transformation Systems Mapping and Analysis working group, but applying the social systems map and the incredible tireless work that she's done on putting this together, her and her partner Tim, with coding different aspects and constantly asking the better question of how do we further develop this. So a real recognition for Christine and what she's been doing in this process. And over to you, Michael. Without, it's actually, you really should be called sine qua non, without which nothing. So Over to you, sine qua non. Believe it or not, you are muted.
Thank you, Charmaine and Glenn, for thinking of this anniversary to do the celebration and all of the work that you're doing in making this happen. Um, and I want to express my appreciation for all the folks who've been mentioned who are part of this. Uh, and given that this is the 1 year anniversary of the launch of the book, express special appreciation for C. Deborah Lawton, who is the uh, editor of Guilford Press, who also was the editor for a developmental evaluation and principles focused evaluation, and is a unique editor these days in that she actually gets involved in details, in providing feedback on writing. She's a writer herself. She was very much engaged with me around the book from its beginning, supporting the idea, helping frame it, and to have that kind of support with all of you. This is how Glenn and I came together, was around his providing feedback on the book, and the Blue Marble evaluation team that provided feedback about the book, and Charmaine going through every chapter and every revision and helping make sure that it represented what we were all aiming for and was clear as and the principles stayed focused. Um, so the book was one piece of this larger movement that you all are a part of, and it's been a privilege to have the input of this group and so many people into it. I've never done a book that has been so engaged by so many people, and so it really is a team effort.
Great. So we will hear more from Michael soon. But first, we wanted to hear from some of the members who have been actively working as Blue Marble evaluators and learning in this new space, and reflect on the Blue Marble evaluation principles, why they have become or are becoming Blue Marble evaluators. And it seems appropriate to begin with our very first Blue Marble evaluator, Pablo Vidguera. And Pablo, I believe you're with us. Would you like to unmute and share your skin in the game with us?
Yeah, thank you very much, Charmaine, and thank you, Michael and Glenn and all. It's really a pleasure to be here with you all sharing this important milestone. Um, I will be try to be brief. When we were thinking about what to share in this important event, Charmaine invited us to think about uh, an image that can describe like our commitment or our engagement with Blue Marble. And I just took this picture. I have that on my computer as one of the ongoing back images for the desktop. And these are my nieces, and it was last year, just playing on the beach. And for a lot of reasons, to me, that's a very important goal for what Blue Marble evaluation is in a lot of different ways that I could try to summarize it mainly in two. The first one is that, of course, I feel like we all share this commitment with living at least a decent world to all those that will come after us. Not sure if a better one, but at least a decent one. Let's aim for that at least. And that commitment could have a million faces, and of course you are exposed to that on the news every day, and with this crucial urgency that we all face. But to me, just having these are my first nieces, and having them in the family, it's really a reminder that you see almost every week, and you see growing, and you see they have a name, they have a story behind. So it's really like that commitment in the strongest expression I've ever felt. Um, so that's one. And the second is, I was telling to Charmaine that I love this picture because it's just two kids enjoying a natural landscape, and you cannot imagine how the fun they had when they were playing in the sunset in the beach. And it's a wonderful reminder of how connected we are with nature, and the kind of different relation that we should establish with our planet, and that Blue Marble strongly calls for. um in terms of just sharing a couple of glimpses of my experience in this work, I just share, and I will put this afterwards on the chat. But I remember I wrote something last year along these lines of this same reflection, once the book was launched, and I was reviewing that, and it pretty much stands um, as two of the most important breakthroughs for me, as in my career, and in my personal being, which is, um, there are a lot of ways in which, and there's a lot of buzz and increasing literature, increasing theory, and increasing evidence on the fact that evaluation really needs to change in order to fulfill the role that it needs to fulfill right now. And there are a million ways that this is being put out there. um, One recent way to put it out there that I just read, and I really love, is, it's not by me, of course, it's by two colleagues, Thomas Schwant and Emily Gates. They were saying something along the lines, just bear with me because I will not be so just to the quotes, but something along the lines of saying, evaluation has been around using evidence to render value judgments on interventions, and it should be more about using those evidence to support interventions in creating value. So there's much more than we could do. And there's this increasing buzz, but at the end of the day, we need to get our job done. A commissioner needs to put out a terms of reference, and a consultant needs to put a proposal for those terms of reference. So at the end, I think that we have the problem statement crystal clear, but at the end of the day, we need ways to do our work differently. And to me, that's the breakthrough of Blue Marble evaluation, along with developmental evaluation and principles focused evaluation. So they provide clear pathways if you want to go down this route, if you are committed to start to do things differently. You don't have just the problem statement, you have some possible pathways you can explore. And to me, that is of immense value. And that reconnected me with the evaluation field as well, when I was just realizing that this is not enough, just sitting on the back of the bus saying, hey guys, this is wrong. That didn't feel to me like something I could devote my life to. But under this other paradigm, I'm pretty happy to be able to bring that to the table. um yeah, and of course, then there is this, along with these lines, there's this whole thing about committing ourselves to meaningfully engage in systems transformation. So there's no, there's a lot of literature again on that, but few actionable frameworks that you could draw upon if you really want to go down these routes. And I think that this, the Blue Marble evaluation really positions evaluation back to what it needs to be the core of the discipline, which is supporting meaningful systems transformation by asking good questions that really help people to make their work better. And sorry, it took me a bit more time than I expected. Sorry, Charmaine. Thank you.
No apologies needed. Thank you so much, Pablo. And Pablo created, resolution's all funny, but he created the Spanish version of the principles, so we'll get those up on the website. This will be, we now have 3 languages of principles, so
That's
um,
work in progress. So all comments welcome. It's really hard to translate. So yeah.
yes, it is a labor of love, so thank you for doing that. So Taruna Gupta is another member. She's in Cyprus. She's not with us now, but she shared this with us. As a fellow mama, I can relate.
Charmaine, it looks like she might be with us.
Oh, is she with us? Taruna,
I
are you
see
here?
her on the I see
Oh.
her on the screen. There she
Taruna,
is.
would
Hi,
you like to
Charmaine.
say anything? Hi, Taruna.
No, actually, I think, as you know, I'm an emerging evaluator, and Blue Marble is just something that really resonated with me. And as you can see, and you always hear my daughter scream at probably every book club or meeting, and she's going to scream right now, I'm sure of it. But yeah, I think this photograph, what I was trying to get with it was just that I think that before I had a child, she's 1 now. I don't think I had that sense of responsibility to future generations. I don't know, it's just the way you're hardwired when you become a mom. And now I feel that she's really loves her animals and going to the zoo and things. And yeah, there's that sense of responsibility. And yeah, conservation has always been very close to my heart because I grew up in Kenya, and it's something that's embedded in us from very early on. And so yeah, this picture just made sense, and I hope it makes sense to everyone else.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Taruna. Next, we have a poem from John Wilson. John, are you with us? Would you like to read your poem for us?
Yeah, okay, thanks, Charmaine. When Charmaine wrote, I sort of wondered what thought about what jumped to mind. I did kind of mind maps and all sorts of things came to mind. But more than anything, there was this poem that, and I'm not really a poet. I try to write a little bit now and again, and I try and do a bit of other writing as well. But I find that when I write best, it's almost as if something's writing through me. And I remember in October 2017, Michael sent round a picture, the Blue Marble picture. And this is the poem that I wrote. And that was just as I think things were really getting going and we were having our monthly meetings. It is extraordinary to sit within the small confines of my room and to contemplate from far away that ball of blue and white. Asia, Africa, Australia, brush strokes of brown, mere edges to it all. Swirling mountain range mass of clouds, patterned in countless ways, caught in a moment, water, an overriding sense of water. We call it the earth, but it's an earth of water, precious water, forsaken water, cycling eternally from the deep blue. A world of many waters, the mountain stream that gurgles crisp and clear, the seeping sludge that stinks, the roaring, raging torrent of flood, bright red or brown with soil. Water heals and grows. Water tears down and spoils. Our world is a water world. Can we make water sacred again? And over the weekend, I wrote a piece, and I think Charmaine's put it in a blog or somewhere else. I'm not going to read that now, but it was linked to this and to the sort of, and I've been sort of much more peripheral to the whole development of Blue Marble in many ways than you, but I think about it a lot. And for me, the global principle is right at the center of it. And I think about that often. And the piece that I've written is with climate change as our biggest crisis. I think if we can really start to apply that local principle more, I think we'll go much further in dealing with climate change. And I explain why in the piece. I won't say it now, but I explain why in the piece that I've written. So let me leave it there and let others have a chance. Thanks, Charmaine.
Thank you so much, John. And yeah, I have, I will share the link and share it on our website as well. It's a beautiful piece, so thank you. Next, we have some colleagues in Japan who have started a Blue Marble Japan chapter, and they are not with us at the opening sunrise ceremony because it is not sunrise for them, but will be with us this afternoon, my time, their morning tomorrow, to share a little bit about what they are doing in Japan. But I'll just put up their slides for a few moments so that you can read them through. And I'm going to play a little bit of music to accompany. So if you are available to come back this afternoon in a few hours, you can hear from our Japanese colleagues. Now I'm going to invite Zenda Ophir to join us to share a little bit about her perspective on Blue Marble evaluation. Zenda?
Thank you, Charmaine. Can you hear me well?
Yes.
Thank you. I feel I've always been a Blue Marble evaluator. I always saw interconnections and interdependencies everywhere, but it was so wonderful to see the systematic work that Michael did in putting together Blue Marble evaluation. Because that which was encouraged in me by my perhaps intuitive understanding of the interconnections were also encouraged by my graduate studies in biochemistry and in ecological chemistry. And that's where I learned my appreciation for the connection between nature and between people. And later on, when I, of course, did evaluation work, this came to the fore all the time. I could have chosen to show some slides from my work because it's Blue Marble evaluation is everywhere in my work. But I often think of my country when I think about BME, and I thought I'll show you 4 slides with your permission that for me captures at least some of the principles. This first one is about yin yang, and I wrote in my own language, Afrikaans, and in so you can read, but as explanation, as we know, South Africa is known as a land of contrasts in many different ways. And this slide shows the contrasting yet interdependent rhythms of life, like the seasons. And it's very well displayed here in the place where I was born, which is semi-desert in the northwest of South Africa for most of the year. But for 2 to 6 weeks, it's covered in flowers, as you can see. And for me, this represents this constant cyclical way of life where the contrasts are so obvious yet so interdependent. In the second slide, this is my city, the city that I will always consider mine, a very famous Cape Town. It represents, of course, several principles, but yin yang as well, but thinking of the cross silo principle. If we were to understand and also improve the city for all its inhabitants, or improve the well-being of its inhabitants, we have to deal with the interconnected problems that are reflected in the two extremes of economic wealth that one sees represented there. A flourishing city with very rich inhabitants on the one side, and a few minutes away, not even right next to it, is the contrast of poverty in all its forms. And the next one.
Sorry.
So this one is perhaps the most meaningful, and you can see it includes, for me, global thinking, world savvy, global, because South Africa was shaped by power over millennia, global power. We started life on that part of the continent, especially in the area where I was born, 42,000 years ago. The Sun were the first inhabitants. But especially in the last 200 years, the history was shaped by colonial powers first, then by my own tribe, the architect of apartheid. As you can see, Hendrik Verwoerd in 1961 initiated apartheid formally, which was really just putting in law what was anyway the colonial rule of the British. And then the hero of my country in 1994, Nelson Mandela, the liberation movement, and the person who prevented civil war. Why is this important? Because the global, South Africa was a target of global powers because of our resources. And I was already a student when I learned that the Western governments were propping up our white government, while other countries like Russia, China were supporting the ANC, the liberation movement, and hence Nelson Mandela. And it was all about resources and the rich minerals that the country had. And that opened my eyes to the interconnections, local to global, and between things that are often hidden, and why we need to be world savvy. And finally, the last slide. If you look at the principle of transformative engagement, and again, it touches on many different ones, but my country is one of the main stories of transformation, and the energy and diversity and color, all shades of color, in all from nature to people, is something that always reminds me, if you look at these 100, some of the 100 new most influential young South Africans of 2019, how far we've come from a country where a white government and a white tribe of fewer than 5% of the population over 2 centuries led over the last 2 decades to a country that looks like this, where 95% of the population is indeed represented among the most influential young South Africans. And that we celebrate and work together while, of course, there are many, many challenges and still a lot of racism and a lot of tension between people. But as much as that is there, 50-fold, it's improved into a positive, energetic country that is trying to craft a way forward despite its very interesting history, and that is a real transformation that's still ongoing in many ways. But who knows where it will end. At least the transformation that we've had is a positive one, and we will see where it goes as we continue with this process. So thank you, Michael, for what Blue Marble Evaluation has done, to Glenn, Charmaine, and others for all these contributions. And I trust that planet Earth or planet Water will become transformed in the near future in the ways that we want. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Zenda. Oh,
Hi, my name is Claire Nicklin. I've lived in Quito, Ecuador for about 20 years, and much of that I've worked with the Collaborative Crop Research Program of the McKnight Foundation. And I guess for 2 years I've been working with Blue Marble evaluators and evaluation. So it's exciting to be celebrating the 2-year anniversary. Because we've all been sort of in lockdown, I thought it might be nice for a change of scenery to come here to the cloud forest of Ecuador and interview a couple of good friends who own an eco-lodge, about the local aspects of their work, sort of what this local landscape means for them and how it interacts with more global and local forces and the interaction between both and how the pandemic has been affecting them. Enjoy.
Hi, I'm Mariela Tenorio, and I grew up in Esmeraldas.
Tom Quessenberry. I'm from Mississippi. I've been in Ecuador for almost 30 years. So Mariela and I came here about 25 years ago.
Potential was that there was still forest. There was a national park, a reserve close to the village. But we thought it's easy to live in a community when people already believe and they work and sacrifice for what they want to do.
Yeah, we're definitely a global community for sure. We're all interconnected, and when you buy a gasoline-powered car in the States, it affects places like Ecuador that are exploiting their natural resources. So we all have some type of guilt or responsibility for that. And that's what a lot of NGOs and stuff are, I think, foster this need. So if you go down to the coast, where Mariela's from, or the Amazon where we work, a lot of times people are asking for proyectos. Okay, how about a project? Which means basically somebody come in, put a lot of money into it, and it's not well thought out or anything. And so they get a little bit of work for a couple of years and stuff, but it's not a grassroots effort. So I think ecotourism can do the lion's share of conservation work, but we shouldn't downplay how much sustainable agriculture is probably as important or maybe even more important. And because of a lot of areas tourists can't save everything, so it's really important for people to use their land much more ecologically conscious. So use small parts of the land and use the rest of it to grow back as forest.
Is that what's behind your head there?
So we have a small garden in the back, and we've had that for probably about 25 years or so. So we grow, especially this time of year, we grow a lot of our own vegetables and stuff.
We have had a chance to absolutely enjoy the land, and being around here, I do start missing the tourists. I do miss because it gave us a chance to build a nice infrastructure and working in the community, and not just the community. We create a tool, industry, which is ecotourism, and now everybody's suffering big time. But in the other hand, we are really doing it for ourselves. And that is what I think. I don't know how to, bring more people aboard to see that you should do it first for yourself before you sell it. So grow your own products. Go bird watching for yourself, not because you have to do it. So that is something that it needs to be addressed, and we should start realizing to do it because we want it to, not because we have to.
that was Claire Nicklin and friends. Claire, I know you're here, do you wanna add anything to your video?
No, I'll just say hi.
Hi, to have you here. And Claire said the second anniversary, and that is so true. We're celebrating the first anniversary of the book and the network, but this work has been happening long before that. So it's been great to have people together for so long. And we saw Nikki at the beginning of our time together, but this is Nikki's skin in the game. Nikki, I believe, is with us, but didn't want to speak because of internet connectivity issues. I'll just pause in case that changes.
I'm just saying Kolamausi and good morning. Tonight I'll be able to do it because I'll be on high-speed internet.
Perfect. Well,
I'm loving this morning. The Nishik, it's beautiful.
Thank you for being with us.
Happy anniversary, Blue Marble Evaluation. I'm Andrea Lisa Belzer. I'm in Nova Scotia, Canada, which is in Mi'kma'ki, the unceded traditional territory of the Mi'kmaq First Nation. I want to say thank you for the 4 overarching principles of Blue Marble Evaluation: the global thinking principle, Anthropocene's context principle, transformative engagement principle, and integration principle. Together, they set the bar for who we can become as a field to transform evaluation as a tool for transformation.
That's our friend Andrea Lisa, who's also here. Do you want to add anything, Andrea Lisa?
I wanted to, it's very emotional. And so I recorded sort of a very simple and vacuous message, because for me, when I look at my niece, and she's in Dallas in a COVID hotspot at the heart of Black Lives Matter. And when I think about how my brother and his partner are providing this positive environment that allows my niece to have a birthday party on Zoom, and she is not holding to the resistance of, wait a minute, I'm supposed to have like lots of friends here. Like, she's not resenting the adaptation that is necessary. She is so loving and confident and positive. And I appreciate that as we confront, as our generation, what we need to own. And as so many people have said, we need to be aware of how we've been complicit, how we've benefited, and the agency that we have to make radical change, so that future leaders like my niece, so that they can actually go forward to a thrivable future for all life. And so that's my skin in the game. And I showed Ava, but I remember I was in Labrador in an Innu tent in the woods, and I was holding a 2-year-old Innu child. And I just refused to be complicit with wasting the time of yet another generation of Indigenous Canadians. I just really committed at that moment in my heart to know who it was that I was serving, and who it was that I was willing to put my whatever at risk, and just have faith that this is not a competition. This is not a case where we're fighting each other. We have to, and I love the example of Nelson Mandela, that we have to have the self-awareness and the love to bring to our work, so that we can work together and leverage each other, even if we have hurt each other in the past. And for me, it's all about love. And I am having quantum leaps in my understanding of Blue Marble in the last little while. And it's just incredible what Michael has drawn together by listening to so many different corners of wisdom and creating this platform. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Andrea Lisa. So before we hear from Michael one more time, I'll just share briefly my skin in the game. Again, my name is Charmaine Campbell Patton, and what brings me to this work is so many things. On the picture on the left, there is a picture of my 2 children, Cal and Jasper, wading in the Mississippi River, which is known by the Dakota people as Hahawakpa, which means River of the Falls, or Wakpa Tonka, Great River. And I live about a mile from the river in Minneapolis, Minnesota, in occupied Dakota homeland and Anishinaabe territory. I grew up just a few miles south of here on the other side of the river in St. Paul. And a few miles beyond that is the Dote, the confluence of the Mississippi and Minnesota rivers, which is a sacred place to the Dakota people. And so this picture on the left just represents one small part of Mother Earth that I and so many people hold sacred, and that is sick because of unsustainable practices brought here by my ancestors, European settlers who exploited the land for their own gain and survival at great cost. And so I am trying to teach my children to respect the river and our Mother Earth. We talk to her daily. And that really comes from my parents and generations before me. So on the right is my mentor and father, Michael, with my children. And so my commitment to environmental justice and blue marble evaluation comes from both sides, from my children who will come after me and my parents and ancestors who have come before me. And so I'm so grateful to be part of this global network of blue marble evaluators who are committed to thinking globally, acting globally and locally, and bringing their whole selves into this work. And so I'm going to pass it off to Michael, and he is going to share some of his thoughts about where we've come over the past year. Means I have to stop my share. Are you still with us?
I'm coming here.
Okay.
Sorry, let me get up. So as those of you who've been a part of the webinars know, I like to try to connect larger history to whatever day it is. And this is the day on which Apollo 12 returned from the moon and had it splashdown. Another view of the blue marble before the iconic figure of the blue marble. And as we've gathered for this celebration, I so appreciate what all of you have contributed. Charmaine began by reminding us about the breath and breathing and the interconnectedness of breath. Nikki's beautiful opening prayer reminded us of the spiritual dimension of our connection to Earth and the transformative nature of it, the beautiful butterflies on her skirt and the many directions in which our transformations depend on and take us. Glenn and John reminded us about the importance of water. Yesterday, the latest National Geographic magazine arrived, and the cover is Saving the Great Lakes, 20% of the world's fresh water, and part of the larger Mississippi basin that Charmaine talked about. Taruna and Pablo made real the connections to future generations and skin in the game. And in Pablo's translation and the challenges of translation, the principles and the statement of the principles was something that everybody on the Blue Marble team contributed to. We went through multiple versions of the principles. We went back and forth with wordsmithing them. The principles are definitely a collective creation, trying to capture the words for what we believed in and shared. It is a collective statement of what we've done. The Japanese contribution makes real our global connections, as do the large membership around the world, and their emphasis on the yin-yang principle. Zinda's emphasis on the interconnectedness of things. And one of the things that she noted that I hear from a lot of folks is that Blue Marble evaluation gives a name to things that people have been feeling in their core for a long time. And that name is our collective understanding. And she reminds us of the political nature of what we're engaged in inevitably. The connection between the local and the global that Claire so beautifully demonstrated, the personal and interpersonal nature of this work, the network connections and interconnections, Andrea Lisa's connecting us with the overarching principles and the emotional nature of that. Pablo talked about head and heart. Andrea Lisa has connected us with emotion and our intellect. And of course, the intergenerational connection that Charmaine has articulated and that is central to my work. Charmaine and I began doing Blue Marble evaluation workshops before the book was even begun. We did one in Ottawa for the National Program for Development Evaluation Training. We did a Blue Marble evaluation workshop for the Minnesota Evaluation Association. And in working together with her has changed everything for me. And that is not just my skin in the game, but the sense of intergenerational presence and the thrill of seeing her commitment to environmental justice come alive through Blue Marble evaluation. I wanted to note with you all how different this is for me. I've been at this for nearly 50 years as an evaluator, but this past year is the first time that I've been a part of an evaluation movement. All of my previous work, utilization-focused evaluation, then developmental evaluation, principles-focused evaluation. I did the book. I got invitations to do workshops. I did speeches. I did follow-up sessions, but never before have I been a part of what this group has created, especially Glenn and Charmaine working together to create the website, the network, blogs, the newsletter, the webinars, that combination of things that people on this celebration are a part of is making this a movement. And that's all new for me. And I'm swept along in it as the forces of change and our commitment to being transformative becomes a part of that. So this is the view from Apollo 12's window, looking out at the Blue Marble. This was the Earth seen from the moon and moonrise from the moon and their touchdown on this day in 1969. Another thing that happened on this day in 1869 was Charles Darwin published The Origin of the Species. And now we are dealing with the survival of the species. And that is part of our shared inspiration, realizing the high stakes for humanity, but it also captures for us the jaded and cynical nature of the times in which we live. I came across this advertisement for a t-shirt, the sixth grade extension event, what's in it for you? And the advertisement says, where some see only doom and gloom, the savvy player sees the coming collapse of the ecosystem and extinction of the majority of earthly plant and animal life as an opportunity. There's still time to profit from the impending extinction. Remember, he who dies with the most toys wins. And so that jaded, cynical context is a part of the shadow side of the work that we do. So as we celebrate together, what celebration brings to mind for me. Celebrate good times, come on. Let's celebrate. I appreciate the opportunity to join with all of you in celebrating this year and the years that came before as we connect together globally, supporting each other and supporting our work for a more just and sustainable planet and humanity. In this year that Charmaine began reminding us with the coronavirus epidemic, with this famous flatten the curve graphic that began all that, with the climate emergency becoming ever more challenging and trying to draw lessons from the coronavirus for the climate emergency, George Floyd's murder and the breath metaphor, the social justice uprising, and the infodemia that we face, where facts, evidence, truth, data, reality, and thinking are up against post-truth, fake news, alternative facts, make-believe, groupthink, and distortions. In all of that, the people on this celebration, the people on our network are together, connecting toward that more just and sustainable world. I am deeply moved and appreciative of being a part of this larger effort, and am sustained and inspired by what we together are working to do. My thanks again to Glenn and Charmaine and the Blue Marble Evaluation Team and all of you for making this happen. I'm going to end by inviting you all, after Charmaine closes out, to go to Menti.com and do a word cloud on the future of Blue Marble Evaluation. But let me turn it back to Charmaine first to bring us home.
Okay. Well, I wanted to open it up to see if any other participants on the call wanted to send a message or share anything. We are at an hour, but this is a party, so that's, I'm gonna say that that's okay. If you have to hop off, that's totally fine. We're coming to a close. But is there anyone else who wanted to say anything today who's here with us?
Hi, it's Nikki.
Nikki.
So I can never tell if folks can hear me. And I just wanted, I don't know if anybody sort of explained, I will just say it quickly and I'll explain it more tonight. The reasons why we pick both times of day is because the universe is the end of the day, in the spirit of partying. And it's when the grandfather sun and grandmother moon, Nipahum, and Kokona Aki, earth, come together. And that's part of our creation story, the very short version. And that's when the universe comes together, because you can see the sun and the moon in the sky, and you can be on earth, and we are children of the earth. And that's when we do our sunrise and sunset ceremony and come together. So that was the significance of doing that. And thank you for letting us be that intentional and having a voice for the non-humans, spiritually and practically.
Thank you for that reminder. Yeah, I was hoping to be somewhere where the sun is rising here in Minneapolis, but I'm in the basement because that's where my internet connection is. And so I put my sunrise from Colorado behind me as my background so that we have a little bit of a sense of it. Hopefully wherever you are, you can feel connected to those forces, as Nikki said. There's a few other comments in the chat. Anyone else want to unmute and share anything? All right, so I'm gonna bring us out and just say thank you, family, for being part of this. And for those of you coming back at sunset, 10 p.m. UTC, which is 4 o'clock here in Central Time. And I'm gonna close us out with a song that is, well, I suppose it was a few months ago, was really sweeping the globe, Jerusalem. And it's a really powerful song by Master KG featuring Nosembo, I think is how it's said. And so as we close out with the song, please feel free to stick around and use the chat. And you know, if you want to say any other words, please feel free to do so. And I will get our song started here.
Jerusalema ikhaya lami ilondoloze uhambe nami zungangishilana Jerusalema ikhaya lami ilondoloze uhambe nami zungangishilana dawo yami ayikholana buso wami awukholana ilondoloze zuhambe nami dawo yami ayikholana buso wami awukholana ilondoloze zuhambe nami ilondoloze 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 zungangishilana ilondoloze 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 zungangishilana dawo yami ayikholana buso wami awukholana ilondoloze zuhambe nami dawo yami ayikholana buso wami awukholana ilondoloze zuhambe nami Jerusalema ikhaya lami ilondoloze uhambe nami zungangishilana Jerusalema ikhaya lami ilondoloze uhambe nami zungangishilana dawo yami ayikholana buso wami awukholana ilondoloze zuhambe nami
Thank you so much, everyone. See some of you later today, and take good care. Here's the Menti.
You can add your one word future for the blue marble. You can add in more than one for those of you still with us. The code is 3411585 at minty.com.
We'll close it out.
Thanks, Charmaine.
And, yep, we'll
Yep.
see you soon. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye. Thanks.